Hello, welcome, Koç University Design Lab. I am Oğuzhan Özcan. I have a very special guest from Holland, Mr. Gabriele Chiave. I'm sorry for my pronunciation.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, he's creative director of Marcel Wanders Studios, and we are going to chat about design issues. I just a little information from my PhD students. Hello, Hayati. Hey. Hayati is industry designer working on sport wearables. Hello, Yağmur. Yağmur is an industrial designer, and she is working on food printing, food fabrications. Hello, Cansu. Cansu attending from Ankara today. She's my new PhD student. She's an architect working on transformation architecture. And finally, Berk. Berk, hello from Antalya.
Wow.
Yes, he's architect, and also he's just joined our PhD groups right now. All right, now we are going to bombarding the question to Gabriele about their works and general design issues. Let's start.
Lovely, lovely.
Hello, Gabriele. I'd like to start. I'd like to talk about your most recent lighting design, Hubble Bubble. You mentioned in an interview about this versatile design. For example, users can change it with different bulb sizes, with different arrangements depending on their needs. So how do you consider this versatility and flexibility in the design process for the object that could be adaptable in different interiors? So how do you include these different possibilities while designing?
So it's a very interesting question because it is a very interesting lamp, the Hubble Bubble designed for Moy, that embeds a very nice technology that maybe I'll talk about it later. It's a chandelier which comes in two sizes and in two different type of bulbs of spheres, let's say. So what happens is very interesting because normally designers, they always think that to make versatile systems that people can arrange themselves is the best thing to do, which in a way it is. But in the other way, the public, the normal customers, normal people hardly will really build it themselves. So what we do in design, of course, we respond. We also do interior design. We do hotels, we do architecture. So of course, we understand the versatility that has to be given, not to the final consumer, but to the architect or to the designer, because they understand, of course, how the space should be built and designed. And most customers, finally, they rely on their architects or on interior designers in order to make this kind of versatility. And on the other side, of course, it's also a company, you know, Moy is our company, is our sister company. So we do the art direction and we also design pieces. So we also understand in the design process, the versatility needs to respond also to an industrial requirement of minimum quantities, of sizes, of SKUs. So we can't be like the IKEA, let's say, of this world, where really you can have 1,000 of variations that people chooses. That's the ultimate versatility. But we try to define the two variations with the two type of colors, with the two bulbs, and that's a matrix that allows maybe 6 to 9 combinations. Of course, the beautiful part of this project is that there is a small ring and there is a larger ring. And in the space, you can build them together in very different positions because they have 3 cables that holds them. So the 3 cable allows them to really versatilely put you in the space. So you can put them 3 straight or 1 flat or 3 together or 1 or 2. So it's versatile in the way it fills and owns the space. So you could have 1 on a beautiful table where the ceiling is not so high, or you could have 10 in a huge void placed together to create your own beautiful interior design void in a hotel. So that's the versatility within the space, I think, is more important than within the product. So that's kind of how we do it in this case, how we do it this piece.
Thank you so much.
Cool, thanks for your answer to this question. It was really enlightening, actually. I will continue with my question. Like, I'm interested in how you incorporate contemporary concepts to your design work. Like, for example, it's another chandelier project, if I'm correct, Adonis project. you can build it yourself. It's something like a DIY element hidden in it. Like it's not the best quality of it maybe, but it's still there. I wanted to ask you about the role of technology in your design work. Like, how do you benefit from technology while applying such concepts to your work? And what's your future? Sorry, I have some follow-up.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll one after you.
Okay, and what is your future perspective on this actually? What do you think? How do you think designers will benefit from technology in the future?
So I'll start speaking about technology and then coming to the Adonis example, if you like to allow me. Technology is something that is part of our lives and is helping our life. It is something that is in all domains. Designer needs to look upon technology. We can't just ignore it. We can't, because that would be not smart. However, how we use technology is that we use technology, but we hide it. We use technology because it's smart, but we don't want to have it in our face. We already have enough technology in our face each day with the phones and computers and so on. So when we design things, we want to be ahead of the technology from maybe the molds, the material or innovation or the lighting sources, but we try to hide technology from your view, but we use it, both in interior, both in product. We used to say, and we say in our studio, that we are poets secretly engineering, because we want to speak about poetry. We don't want to speak about engineering. We are engineers because we have to deal with technology and engineers and molds, but that's not interesting to people. People love poetry. They love art. They love those expertises and the word which inspires you is not the high-tech world, is other matters. So we try to speak to the people. To reach the people's heart, you need to speak that language. You need to speak not to the brain. You have to speak to the heart of people, and that's how we do it. That's what we love to do. And of course, another very important thing, technology, for instance, in the Hubble Bubble, it's a very pure, simple design. And of course, the more simple the design looks, the more complex it is, because it embeds a technology which is called electro sandwich, which basically we bring electricity through the structure without cables, and we just attach magically beautiful bulbs and lights to make it very impossible, almost crazy. That's why people looks at it and says, wow, how does that work? And that's the beauty of how to use technology to our point of view. And towards Adonis, which is it's a Barovietoso chandelier. Barovietoso is a company of 750 years old, still family owned, which we love. We love to work with companies that has a huge history, that has heritage, that has craftsmanship and knowledge that we want to keep alive for the next generation to come. So we bring, in that case, cultural innovation. We bring different technology, of course, new technology, and we try to use that expertise and that beauty of the past today to create the future. So Adonis, for instance, is a very beautiful example because, as you know, chandeliers, they always work by number of lights. So there is a 12 lights, the 16 light, 24 light, and they grow depending on the lights. What we did here is that we reuse all the classical pieces of Barovietoso. We reframe it in a different shape, in a chandelier without a core center. So it's only the arms are holding up the structure. And we did 5 different shapes. Two different shapes in 3 different sizes, and each one with different arms. So basically what happens is you don't have only one chandelier, but you can build 3 small chandeliers and have the same amount of a big one of lights. We invented the first modular chandelier, not only in shapes, but also in amount of light. So with Adonis, if you want 24 lights, you can decide to have it in one piece large, as this used to be, or in a medium and a small one together. So in there, you can build it constantly with big one, big small. So it's very, and when I say culture innovation is something very important to us, because we are innovators, not just using technology. We are culture innovators, which means that things for my father and my grandfather, the word looked different than I looked at it today. So culture innovation is basically to maybe give another interpretation to people today of what chandelier should be, because it's always been that way. And it's beautiful today maybe to shake up that mindset and say, you know, today the chandelier can also be this way and a different mindset, and then people would be excited because they would not recognize the chandelier of their grandmother, but they would see a new chandelier which responds to different needs with a different technology, with a more beautiful light and more sustainable. So that's in a nutshell how we see. I hope I kind of answered all the little parts of your question.
Yes, you really did. It was interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Gabriel. So my question will be about more of your design approach rather than your products. So you emphasize your design approach that shifts from materialism to conceptualism to bring back the human touch to design. And I would guess that centralizing the human or the user would be a challenge with this design approach, as concepts are somehow abstract ideas compared to solid materials that we talked about that users can relate to. So I wonder, how do you ensure that your creative approach includes this user in the design process? Do you have any specialized design research methods to communicate these concepts to potential users, or perhaps help them experience the design itself?
Well, there are a few sides to these questions, I believe. One is, so one part, the first part is that we, when we do design, because design, of course, is being always taught since years and years to be a very functionalist and very functionalist expertise more than humanist. We believe that we are extremely centered, humanistic centered studio, and the work we do, we try to be, not because of the function, because the chair needs to have three legs, otherwise it falls. But we want to, that our project, we want that our project would carry stories, would carry culture, would carry meaningful memories of people. You know, interior design, we have to work with the environment where the hotel stands, because, and then we explore the culture of the country, the storytelling, and so on, and we embed in our design. In product design, products has legs, they will fly all over the world, so they carry our messages to the world. So it's very important that those messages are very humanistic led, are very universal. So how do we do that is, of course, that we try to look at the past, we try to look at the heritage, we try to look at the history, we try to look at the beauty of what humankind has been building in the past to bring it today to create the future. So each object tells something that people will recognize themselves in. They will feel comfort, they will feel security, they will feel good about it, because finally the product itself speaks to a memory, speaks to a feeling, speaks to something that maybe your grandmothers were used to do. And so to enrich a project with storytelling in that level, that cultural level, helps immediately the product not to be anonymous, but to be part of all of us, because you feel secure, you feel like it's always been there, and therefore you love it and you want to keep it. And for us, it's also in a way how we see sustainability. If we manage to design something that people loves, that really loves emotionally, they will never throw it away. They will pass it to their son and to their grandson and to the grandson again. So that piece will try to stay alive as much as it can. That's one part. And of course, the other part, which for us is very important, is that we have a very holistic approach to design. Today, as you know, the market is being overcrowded of designers, design companies, industries. So the span life of products are getting very shorter and shorter and shorter. So it's very important that we have a really good reason to design something new. We have to be really sure of why we're doing what we do. It's essential. But besides this, our studio has graphic designers, photographers, interior designers, architects, product designers, lighting designers. We have a lot of, and we're 50 people. We have a lot of expertise, because we believe that when you design something, you're halfway, you're 50% of your task. The other 50% is to reach the heart of the people that was mentioned before, is to reach their imagination, their soul, their heart. And how you do that, everything is today necessary in order to be reaching the understanding of people of your story and why you did such things. So photography is very important, graphic is very important, the storytelling, the text, the copy, everything around the project is very important. Also, the talks we're doing today is extremely important to make understand how we do things and why we do them. So those two areas, I think, are very are fundamentals today for the design making.
Thank you.
Hello, Gabriele.
Hello.
I would like to ask you, how did you benefit from the experience of living and visiting many places from a young age while creating your designs? In an interview, you mentioned that your objects move with you as you moved homes, and therefore you started to define home as the objects traveling with you. I imagine this must have contributed to you as a designer to have a broader cultural perspective, as well as a unique definition of space. And I wonder, at what stages of your creative process did you combine your past interactions with your new design, and how do you interpret the use of space in product design, and what do you think the possible opportunities with emergence of new technologies?
So it is true. It is something that I realized after a few years, because as you mentioned rightly, I moved each 4 years to another country, very far away one another. So, and also after that, I stayed in Milan studying design. My parents went on, and they went to Syria, Damascus. They went to Tanzania, Dar es Salaam. They went to South Africa. So and each, of course, for 5 years each time. So I grew up in South America and Africa. And at a certain point, I realized not when I was traveling with them, but after that, I would stay in Milan, and then they would move again, and I would go each year, twice a year, to their house. I would arrive and I would say, well, wow, that's a new house and all the new walls. So where's the kitchen and where's the toilet? But I felt home because all the console, the sofa, they were all the same items that were traveling with me before. So I started understanding how really the space for me was kind of an important, it was mutating, but I felt completely home only through the objects. And therefore, I think I had a strong connection to objects, to understanding, to the loving of them, to also because my parents collects vintage pieces. My mom antiques, my father vintage. So we had along our life, all in the house, all different, like from the 17th century to the mid 20th century pieces of all different type of designs, all different materials. And my mom would instruct me also, this is a French console from Louis XIV. So in a way, I think that also brought me to what I'm doing today, not just looking at the past, but trying to understand the beauty of the past to create the new past for the future. And therefore, I think it's very, it's very beautiful, and it enriched me. Not only because of the pieces, but because also in Syria they had the Syrian pieces. In South America they were colonies pieces. So also culturally, you understand that the world is not a little garden; it's a complete forest of beauty and of beautiful different cultures, and that's what enriches me. Diversity, cultures, and to see that you have so many different stories in our world that are beautiful, that are connected to us as humankind, but also of course connected to what we realize, which in our case is design. That is beautiful and it's rich, and I'm still in the quest always to look forward, and it's trying to learn more, to discover more, to be inspired, and to bring that little inspiration to what I do. So the space related to object is very important. I mean, being an industrial designer, and I started being an industrial designer, and since years I do also interior design. It's very interesting because in product design, you have to know everything about what you design, the radius, the thing, and you can spend a year and a half on a little piece, and So that's what we do. And that's like it's like playing the violin. If you play one instrument, you have to be a master in that instrument. You have to know all the details. When you do interior design, you can't do the same because you will spend 20 years to do interior design, right? So you have to be a director of an orchestra, and you have to have the melody coming together beautifully, coherent, and you have to let the people know their expertise, but you have to understand the instruments, but you can't understand them here. So you are the director to create an environment where all the instruments and all the melodies are coming together in a beautiful way. So that's, I see the difference between what we do in product and what we do in interior. However, there's the vision, the DNA, the connectivity of the two expertises are very near one another. If you have a reason and a why of why you do things, if you have a passion and you are curious, and you know that is going to bring you in a kind of way in the same playground, both in interior design and product design.
Gabriele, thank you so much. We are ending our coffee talk with you. I would like to ask the last question.
Of course.
As you know, we had a special situation, extraordinary, since March, and we are isolated. And also in that time we thought about our previous knowledge, and everyone, maybe you also, made a self-critic yourself. So during this time, what is your self-critic? So what do you think about your future? Did you change anything for your philosophy, your view, your opinion in the near future? What do you think about it?
My self-critic is to have been dragged into a vortex from the industry that we're not aware of. We were not aware of. Now for the 4 months, 6 months, past 6 months, I was not traveling. Before I was traveling each week, Japan, New York, whatever, using a lot of plane, leaving a footprint which was disastrous. Then you start to see that the world is still and nature are rising again and breathing again a little bit. And I was just into a vortex of design, and each 6 months and each year present new sofa, new chair. Finally, we don't need that. We need to be more conscious. We need to take more time. We need to do more valuable projects. We need to do more meaningful projects in order for them to survive long time, but also in order for our life to be more sustainable, to be more fulfilled. And I just regretted that I couldn't see that before. And then I had such an unfortunate situation in order to stop me, and not only me, but to stop the industry, which of course brings its own problems and drama, but at least to make us understand that we could not go ahead as we were doing, both personally as a human person, and as much as a designer, because we have two responsibilities. We're human and we also are designer. So we have to bring those two equations to the equation. So that's kind of what I learned and what I'm now happy to have with me.
Thank you, Gabriele. We are connecting to Holland, Marcel Wanders Design Studios creative director, Gabriele.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I hope I gave you a bit of insights and nice things to think of. Hope that.
Okay. Have a good day from Istanbul.